It's a couple of weeks away, but I'm going to tell you right now, Indiana is beating Notre Dame in the college football playoff. Tell me I'm wrong. Locked on Big Ten starts right now.
You are Locked On Big Ten, your daily podcast on the Big Ten Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Big Ten. I'm Craig Shemon, 40 years as a sports talk show host and play-by-play announcer, and I want to thank you for making us your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Place your first $5 bet, and you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets guaranteed. Visit FanDuel.com and get started. So yes, Indiana over the Fighting Irish. Plus, we have some coaching news at Michigan and Nebraska and some hoops to tell you about. And we'll have our power rankings like we do each and every week, except I'm going to compare our current power rankings to what I said in the preseason, and we'll grade. We'll see how I did. Some predictions. All right. In the meantime, it's remarkable that Curt Cignetti and the Indiana Hoosiers are in the college football playoffs, and they'll face Notre Dame in the first round. In my most bold prediction of the year, I'm here to tell you the Hoosiers will win this game in South Bend and then face Georgia and take on the Bulldogs in the next round. By now, you know the story of the Hoosiers. Cignetti took over a program with low expectations, and he arrived from James Madison. He brought 13 good players with him in the transfer portal, and he found an experienced quarterback from Ohio, Curtis Rourke. Some people mistakenly thought that kids from a mid-major like James Madison, even though they did well, they would arrive to an underperforming Power 4 Big Ten school at Indiana. It was a nice story. They'd get their chance to play some big boy football and go off into the sunset with the rest of their lives. Well, I have news for you, especially you Notre Dame fans that don't know a whole lot about Indiana, and you think you got a layup here in the first round. You don't. The kids at Indiana can play. There's some legitimate Power 4 talent on this roster. 6 players on this roster made all Big Ten this season, and 11 others were honorable mention. In fact, the Hoosiers had 3 first-teamers on defense more than any other team. Michigan, Penn State, Ohio State, Indiana. Better get ready and buckle up for a real game. And again, Indiana's got a lot of attention with its high-flying offense. A lot of attention. But again, there's some talent on this defense as well. You know, the 3 players that made first team All Big Ten. Linebacker Aiden Fisher led the team in tackles, ranked 3rd in the Big Ten with 108 tackles. Got a great nose for football. He'll be in the frame every play, following the ball if he's not actually making the tackle. And he got 4 tackles for loss and 1.5 sacks this year. Mikael Kamara, he's another one. Defensive line, big guy, can't miss him. 2nd in the Big Ten with 10 sacks. 2nd in Power 4 football with 64 pressures. He will be in the backfield causing problems. And I like D'Angelo Pons, their defensive back. Got 2 interceptions and 9 pass breakups. He returned one of his interceptions for a pick 6. And he also blocked a punt versus Michigan State that led to a safety. He's all over the place. They really got some guys in the secondary that can fly. Now, as we alluded to regarding the offense, got its fair share of high-level talent as well. Quarterback Curtis Rourke led the nation in passing efficiency, 181.4, led the Big Ten in touchdown passes with 27, only had 4 interceptions. 27 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. The guy knows what to do with the football. You can just see him in the pocket. He knows how to move in the pocket. He knows how to read defenses. He's very accurate. He knows when to throw. He knows when to run. Indiana runs a lot of RPO, and he always makes the right choice. He's got some weapons to throw, too. Elijah Sarrett. His nickname is wide receiver. His nickname is Waffle House because he's open 24/7. Caught 8 touchdown passes this year. And they got a great offensive line. A lot of experience up there. Smart guys. Solid running game with Justice Ellison. And look, this team had a great 1-loss season. And they messed up at the Ohio State game. They did. They made some mistakes. They shot themselves in the foot. At the end of the first half, their punter took his eye off the ball on the snap, and it went right through his hands at the end of the half. In the third quarter, that same punt unit gave up a touchdown return. So that same unit gave up 14 points, basically. And that was in a 38-15 win for Ohio State in Columbus. You take away those 14 points, okay, we're looking at 24-15, maybe a break here or there. We got a more even ball game. Indiana took the lead. They got stopped Ohio State, 3-and-out, then marched down the field with a long drive and scored. Everybody's like, whoa, what's going on here? Indiana could play with very talented football teams because they are talented themselves. Again, Ohio State was the number 2 team in the country at the time. They can play with them. They can play with anybody, and that includes Notre Dame. They'll do the same against the Fighting Irish. The Fighting Irish look like they took themselves out of the playoff picture in week 2 with that home loss to lowly Northern Illinois. No offense to Northern Illinois, but that was not a good football team. And Notre Dame lost to them at Notre Dame 16-14. It shocked the entire college football world. The next week, though, Notre Dame got its act together, and they came back and they beat Purdue 66-7. By the way, Purdue is a common opponent for these two teams this year. Indiana beat the Boilermakers 66-0. Interesting. They both scored 66 against the same team, against Purdue. 66-7 for Notre Dame, 66-0 Indiana. Interesting barometer. Again, I think Indiana's talent is every bit as good as the Fighting Irish. Riley Leonard, quarterback for the Fighting Irish. He paced Notre Dame with 16 touchdown passes and 5 interceptions after transferring from Duke. Not great passing numbers, not bad. Don't blow you away, but that's because he's a dual threat quarterback. He will run a lot. He was also their second leading rusher this year with 721 yards, and he added another 14 touchdowns. So 16 passing touchdowns, 14 rush, 30 touchdowns this year. Guy produced. And the Irish offense goes as he goes. But the Notre Dame defense is as good as anybody in the country. Defensive lineman Riley Mills, he leads up front with 6.5 sacks. It's their secondary that'll get your attention. Safety Xavier Watts has 5 interceptions and 8 pass breakups. Corner Leonard Moore has 2 picks and 8 pass breakups. And corner Christian Gray has 2 picks and 8 pass breakups. Let's look at the schedules here for a second. We already mentioned that lowly Purdue was a common opponent. Now, there's a knock that Indiana's strength of schedule is low. They didn't play any ranked teams until they played Ohio State. And that was a game they lost. So nationally, Indiana's strength of schedule is 67th in the country. But again, with one exception, they won all the rest of them, and they won them by large margins. Michigan game was close. The rest of them were blowouts. Notre Dame's strength of schedule wasn't much tougher. I was a little surprised because I dug that up right before this podcast. While Indiana's ranked 67th, Notre Dame's is only ranked 57th. The reason I'm surprised by that is because 4 teams that they played and beat were ranked at the time. So this year, those 2 schools, best seasons they've had in like 75 years. It was great. Louisville was ranked 15 when they played Notre Dame. And the Irish won their season opener against Texas A&M. A&M was 20th in the country at the time. Bottom line, though, I think a lot of people think that Indiana is going to go to South Bend and get beat on that hallowed ground of college football. But I think these teams are more evenly matched. I think this game is tied at 28 with 4 minutes to go. I think it's going to be that kind of game. And whoever executes to the final minutes is going to get the win. And I think that's going to be Indiana. I'm sure fans of the Golden Domers will be all upset and hit me up in the comments. I say fire away. Hit me up with the comments on YouTube. And I would love to hear from Hoosier fans as well, because I know you're excited. Heck, they moved graduation time because it was on the same day as the game. Moving all the graduations up to the morning so everybody could get to South Bend for this game. It's a big deal. It's a huge deal. Anyway, love your thoughts and comments on YouTube as well. Hey, be sure to subscribe. Hit that little subscribe button if you haven't yet already, and follow Locked On Big Ten for free wherever you get your podcast. That way you get the latest episode of this podcast as soon as it becomes available each and every day. And don't forget, also go to our website. If you're on video, you see the crawl at the beginning, at the bottom, talkbig10.com. Number 10, talkbig10.com. That's where we put all of our podcasts chronologically. You can go back and look at yesterday's. Or we group them by team. This one will be filed away under Indiana Hoosiers. While you're there, get some Christmas shopping done. I've provided links for you to buy Indiana gear, Michigan gear, Ohio State shirts, hats, Oregon t-shirts, pennants, all right there for you or your friends for Christmas. Great stocking stuffer ideas. Or if you have that somebody you just can't think of anything to get them, some Big Ten gear from their favorite school would be pretty cool. Go check it out at talkbig10.com and make your life a lot easier. All right. All right. Coming up, we've got some coaching news around Nebraska and Michigan, and a big time Michigan player is going to go pro a year early. Not a big surprise, but we'll tell you all about that. And don't forget, we'll have our power rankings for football, and we'll compare them to how we did at the beginning of the season. So an honest assessment of how we did. I'll grade myself right in front of you. All that coming up in 1 minute here on Locked On Big Ten. FanDuel makes watching sports even more exciting. How about the NFL, for example? Get in on some NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sports book, because right now new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place your live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, scores, like play-by-play, all right there on the same page that you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com and join today. You get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's at FanDuel.com. We got some Thursday night football this week, Rams and 49ers. I know they both had high-scoring games last week. Kind of like the under this week. Tired, short week, 48.5. FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Well, thank you for making Locked On Big Ten your first listen each and every day, especially everydayers out there. Meanwhile, please be sure to subscribe. Hit that little black subscribe button if you haven't yet on YouTube, and share and follow and like Locked On Big Ten, your team every day. And don't forget to check out our website afterward at talkbig10.com. All right, one more thought about Indiana and how things have changed since Curt Cignetti arrived there. Indiana football raised $13 million in nil money this year. That's on the same pace as Penn State, a big boy football program. So it looks like Indiana may stick around for a while if they keep that up. That's really amazing what they have going on there. Let's talk some Michigan football for a minute. Michigan defensive tackle Mason Graham is going pro. This should not surprise anybody. He has hired Drew Rosenhaus as his agent, and he will declare for the NFL draft. He's projected to be a top 5 pick. So this is a no-brainer for him here in the 2025 NFL draft. He's been a mainstay and a guy who just plugs the run there on the front line of the Wolverines defense. He's 6'3", 320 pounds. He's huge. He's immovable. He had 3.5 sacks this year, 9 for his career from a defensive tackle position. It's not bad. He's the center where everything starts for Michigan. It's one of the reasons that Ohio State could not get their running game going at all. It's because of him. On the offensive side of the ball, Sharon Moore is looking for an offensive coordinator to replace the fired Kirk Campbell, and he is targeting North Carolina offensive coordinator Chip Lindsey for that role. He was part of Mac Brown's staff at Chapel Hill, and he was the head coach at Troy from 2019 to 2021, where he went 15-19. He was also an offensive coordinator at Central Florida, Auburn, Arizona State, and Southern Miss. And under Lindsey, the Tar Heels had the country's 7th-ranked offense back in 2023 when he coached Drake May, a quarterback who, of course, became the number 3 pick in the NFL draft. So now he'll get to work with the number 1 5-star recruit, Bryce Underwood, at Michigan. I'm sure he's excited about that. Michigan struggled with 3 different quarterbacks this year, and their offense ranked 129th in the country and 112th in scoring this year. Unacceptable numbers for Michigan. More coaching news. Nebraska. They will promote John Butler to defensive coordinator. He was the secondary coach and defensive game pass coordinator. Did that for the Huskers this year. He replaces Tony White, who left for a 3-year deal to become the defensive coordinator at Florida State. Butler was defensive coordinator at Penn State under Bill O'Brien. in 2013, followed him to the Houston Texans, where he coached the secondary from 2014 to 2017. And he's among a lot of changes at Nebraska. Remember, former Houston and West Virginia head coach Dana Holgorsen, he was just named offensive coordinator. So 2 new coordinators for Matt Rule this year at Nebraska. And Matt Rule's longtime assistant Phil Snow from back in the day has been named assistant head coach, associate head coach, actually. And he's been with Rule forever. He was his defensive coordinator at Temple, at Baylor, with Carolina Panthers. So a lot of juggling going on with the staff there at Nebraska as they're trying to keep that program still going up. Going bowling this year, though. No men's basketball on Wednesday night, but tomorrow, number 3 Iowa State is at Iowa for the Iowa Corn-Sci Hawk Series. It's 7:30 Eastern on FS1. It's part of a doubleheader because the women play too. That's number 18 Iowa State and number 21 Iowa for the women, 9 o'clock on FS1. The old Iowa Corn-Sci Hawk Series. It is here as tomorrow. All right, coming up, we're going to look at our Big Ten football power rankings, final one of the season, compared to how we did when we did our first preseason one. A couple surprises, couple we got just about right. So we will take care of all of that. I'll let you grade me right here. It's all coming up next on Locked On Big Ten. Omaha Steaks, great Christmas gift idea. Nothing delivers comfort and joy quite like the unrivaled quality and taste of Omaha Steaks. It's guaranteed perfection in every single bite. Right now, you can save on unforgettable gifts with 50% off statewide at omahasteaks.com. Plus, score an extra $30 off with promo code COLLEGE. So with 5 generations of experience, they consistently deliver the world's best steak experience, and the gifting experts at Omaha Steaks have made it easy to deliver the perfect gift with thoroughly curated gift packages featuring gourmet favorites. From legendary steaks to mouthwatering desserts and more, save 50% off statewide for a limited time at omahasteaks.com. Plus, our listeners get an extra $30 off with the promo code COLLEGE, COLLEGE. That's 50% off at omahasteaks.com. And an extra $30 off with the promo code COLLEGE. Minimum purchase may apply. Omaha Steaks. All right, let's do this here. We're going to take a look. We always do a feature at the end of our podcast. So just if you're new, we got a lot of new people. Thank you very much. Just kind of discovering us for the first time. Every Monday, we do our Big Ten Top 10 observations for the weekend. Tuesdays, we do Tuesday tweets. You can see us at Twitter at Talk Big Ten or X if you prefer. It's kind of like a mailbag segment. We always take the kind of the best, the funny ones, amusing ones, colorful ones, put them on there. That's Tuesday tweets. Wednesday, we do our power rankings, which we're about to do. Thursdays, we look at the Big Ten Network schedule for the weekend, and we look at their Big Ten Classics and Big Ten Live Action for Big Ten football and basketball and all that. We always put it up there, highlight some things that you might want to watch over the weekend. And then Friday, we make our picks. Football season is pigskin picks. We're going to start mixing in some basketball as well. So that's every Friday as well. So let's do this. I'm going to put this on screen. If you are audio only, I'll describe it in detail. And we'll see where we go. I got them side by side. We'll start with the first 10. Ones on the left are this week. Ones on the right are preseason from August. All right. As you can see, currently, I have Oregon 1, Penn State 2, Ohio State 3. Same 3 teams in the preseason, just a different order. Ohio State, Oregon, and Penn State. We thought it would be an Oregon Ohio State Big Ten championship. It was Oregon and Penn State. So top 3, correct top 3. All 3 are different order. Right now we got Indiana at number 4. As you can see on the column on the right, we'll look at the last 8 in a minute. I did not even have Indiana in my top 10. Nobody did. Nobody did. And I'm an Indiana grad. Didn't see it coming. Got Illinois at number 5 now. If they win their bowl game, that's 10 wins this year, and they're ranked in the top 20. So, by the way, all these teams, the 5 teams ranked in the top 20 of the AP poll, the college football poll. I had Nebraska at 5. I expected a little more out of them this year. Let's see. I currently have Michigan at 6. They kind of rebounded a little bit. As you can see in the preseason, I had Michigan at 4. Thought they might be better than expected with a lot of talent, like Mason Graham coming back, but they were a disaster at quarterback. That was the problem. It's amazing they did as well as they did. Got Iowa at 7 now. Oh, I had Iowa 7 in the preseason. Nailed it. Got Minnesota at 8 right now. They did not make our top 10 preseason. Got Washington at 9. That's where I had them in the preseason. And then Nebraska right now, top 10. As you see in the preseason, I had them a little higher at 5. Preseason, I thought Wisconsin would be a little better at number 10. All right, let's see how we did with the best of the rest. I currently have USC at 11. There's Rutgers at 12. Preseason had Illinois at 11, so they did better. Maryland at 12. I had Maryland higher than they turned out to be. So we rounded it out. USC, Rutgers, Wisconsin, Michigan State, UCLA, which had a horrendous start to the season, Maryland, which fell off the map, Northwestern, and then Purdue was a disaster. But we nailed that. We knew that in the preseason that Purdue was going to be a disaster. They were preseason number 18. Let's see what else is interesting. What else jumps at? See, I see Indiana preseason 14th. Now we got them 4th, and they're in the playoffs. Michigan State, Northwestern, UCLA, Purdue, all a tweak here or there, but pretty much the expectations were what we thought they were. Anyway, let me know what you think, both about the current rankings, and I have the guts to go back and show you what we did in the preseason. Not too bad. We weren't crazy too far off. And soon. So we'll take care of that probably next week, I think. In the meantime, let me know what you think. Many ways to reach out to this show. Twitter or X. That's at Talk Big 10, number 10. Our website, as you see the crawl on the bottom if you're on video, talkbig10.com. All of our podcasts go there, and you can buy your Christmas merchandise for your Big Ten schools right there as well. Whatever you do, and this is always free, hit that subscribe button if you haven't yet. Subscribe and follow this podcast right now on your favorite podcast app, and you'll get the latest episode of Locked On Big Ten as soon as it becomes available each and every day. We're in playoff mode and bowl mode and transfer portal mode. We got you covered. All things news, analysis, opinion right here. Tell your friends about us. We're here every single day. Thanks for checking us out here on Locked On Big Ten. Can't wait to meet and talk to you again next time. I'm Craig Shemon for Locked On Big Ten.